Well, thank you, Nicole, for telling the story, and thank you, all you amazing Pentecostal actors. You were wonderful. At Pentecost, that holiday, that day between the beginning of what's called in the church calendar the ordinary, tomorrow we begin ordinary time in the calendar of the church. But Pentecost comes 50 days after Easter. It's that moment when we remember and we celebrate that the church has a birthday. The church gets born on Pentecost. And the reason why we wear red on that day is because red is the color in the church year, the liturgical church year, when we celebrate the life and the breath and the being of church. So that's why we wear red. That's why we call it Pentecost, 50 days between Easter and this amazing moment of Pentecost. It's that day on the church calendar, I think, when we get to acknowledge in a very big way what we know all year long, but perhaps as good white American blended Protestants, we need the Spirit to live in the midst of us. So often we approach our religion and our worship in a good, orderly, common sense way, right? On Pentecost we get to say, things are a little chaotic. Things are a little wild. I might not feel very comfortable in this moment. Things might get a little out of control. But in the midst of that, the Holy Spirit is alive and is helping us create a new way and a new form. So we know that for those who were present at that first Pentecost, it was quite a moment. It was quite a chaotic moment. They were gathered in one place. There was wind that came up in the midst of that place. There was something that looked a lot like fire touching the heads of people. And then all these strange sounds came forward. And if you had been there, you might hear yourself speaking and not know what you said. So it wasn't only that the people listening couldn't understand what was being said. People who were actually speaking were also confused about what was going on. No wonder people from the outside said, they look like they're drunk. No wonder there was this sense that things were just a little bit out of control. But when you think about it, and even as we sat here this morning, there's a sense of excitement that gets released in that moment. Did you feel excited? Did you feel like anything could happen? One of those tongues of fire might absolutely burst into flames. One of those pieces of wind, those scarves, might actually be the wind of the Holy Spirit. Anything can happen. Wind is ruach in Hebrew. It is called spiritus in Latin. We understand the wind of Pentecost as the breath and the being of God. Wind is invisible. We can't see it. But if you remember the last time you felt some wind, you could feel it. And the breath of God is like the wind that you feel on your face and on your body. Today, the Spirit of God blows through this congregation. Maybe you'd like to take a breath in. Will you do it with me? And let us blow out together. The Spirit of God is in this place. Instead of falling apart, people come together. Instead of confusion, a new kind of clarity of the gospel vision blows in. Instead of barriers, the Spirit helps us to transcend our differences so that the same message of the Spirit of God's love, justice, compassion, and hope blows in and rests with all of us. Pentecost. We're called to be the church Jesus could only dream of. On fire with the light of God, filled with the power and the breath of the Holy Spirit, longing and living, desiring to bring peace on earth, goodwill to all.